Ethan adjusted the straps of his cargo bag as he walked through the busy corridors of Orinth Station, a massive spaceport orbiting a neutral planet in the Lyrian galaxy. The station hummed with life, filled with aliens of every shape and color, humans and hybrid species trading, bargaining, and moving between ships. To most people it was just another day, but for Ethan, this delivery felt different. Something about the tension in the air made his stomach twist. He had been sent to deliver a set of new propulsion cores to a high-ranking Orinthian engineer, a task that should have taken no more than an hour. But the station was crowded with travelers, merchants, and diplomats mingling in the corridors. Ethan navigated carefully, trying not to bump into anyone or anything, his eyes scanning the signs overhead for the way to the engineer's office. Then it happened. He collided with someone. Not just anyone, someone tall, poised, and unmistakably regal. Ethan stumbled back, almost dropping his cargo bag, and looked up. The alien in front of him was humanoid in shape, but her skin shimmered faintly like liquid silver, reflecting the station lights. Her large almond-shaped eyes glowed a soft green, and her hair moved slightly as if caught in a gentle current. Even though there was no wind, she wore a long flowing robe in deep blue and gold, embroidered with patterns that seemed to shift as she moved. And around her shoulders was a faintly glowing clasp, the symbol of her family or rank. It was clear she was royalty. "Your Highness," Ethan blurted out without thinking. He had no idea why he said it, and even he was surprised by the words. The alien princess, as he quickly realized, tilted her head, studying him with curious eyes. I didn't mean to," Ethan started, but she held up a hand, stopping him. "You bumped me, human," she said, her voice musical and calm. "Yet you speak without fear. Most of my people would bow or run." Ethan's heart raced. His mind scrambled for something clever, something that would save him from being in trouble with alien royalty. Instead, he did what humans sometimes do when nervous. He smiled awkwardly and shrugged. "Sorry," he said. "Really, I didn't see you. Spaceports are crowded, and shiny outfits are distracting." For a moment, the princess's eyes widened, and then unexpectedly she laughed. The sound was light and airy, almost like chimes in a gentle breeze. Ethan blinked. No alien had ever laughed at him before. He didn't know whether to feel relieved or terrified. "You humans are strange," she said, still chuckling. "You apologize for everything." Ethan grinned nervously. Then on impulse, he did something completely out of character. He reached into his bag and pulled out his old worn jacket. "Here," he said, holding it out. "You look maybe a little warmer if you wear this." The princess raised an eyebrow, clearly puzzled. "This for me?" Ethan nodded. "Yeah, I mean, it's a joke, mostly. Humans think humor is helpful in tense moments. You can try it. Or not." Before he could think twice, she allowed him to drape the jacket over her shoulders. It was too big for her, the sleeves hanging down past her hands, but she didn't remove it. Instead, she studied it for a moment, then looked at Ethan with a faint smile. "This is unusual," she said, tilting her head. "But I like it. Humans have strange ideas of humor, yet sometimes they are pleasant." Ethan laughed. "Glad you like it. I promise it's usually more practical on Earth than in spaceports." Her laughter grew, soft but genuine. The glow in her eyes seemed to intensify for a moment. Around them, the bustling corridor continued as normal, but for Ethan the world seemed to shrink. He was standing with a princess who was laughing at his joke. A real laugh. Not a polite, forced one. "May I ask your name, human?" she said after a moment. "Ethan," he replied, offering a small bow. "Ethan Carter. And you are?" "I am Lyra," she said simply, as if that explained everything. "Lyra of the Orinthian Empire, and you have amused me." Ethan almost choked on his words. He had not intended to impress a royal alien. He had not intended anything at all, except perhaps to make her less annoyed. Yet here he was, Lyra smiling under his jacket, and somehow it felt like a small victory. The station staff nearby watched in surprise. Aliens whispered among themselves, pointing discreetly, as it was unusual for anyone to touch royalty, let alone drape clothing over them. But Lyra seemed unconcerned. She adjusted the jacket slightly and nodded toward Ethan. "You have courage, human. Or perhaps foolishness. Perhaps both." Ethan chuckled. "Maybe a little of both. But I promise I mean no harm, just wanted to make you smile." Lyra tilted her head, studying him. Her expression softened in a way that humans might recognize as kindness. Then you have succeeded. Few manage this. Even in my court, laughter is rare. For a moment, Ethan felt as if he had crossed some invisible barrier between their worlds. A human could not normally meet an alien princess, let alone make her laugh. Yet here he was, standing in a crowded spaceport corridor, feeling the warmth of genuine amusement from someone centuries older than his own species in wisdom and lineage. "Do you like jackets often?" Lyra asked almost absent-mindedly, looking down at the oversized clothing draped across her shoulders. Ethan shrugged. "I guess I never thought much about them, but I know humans like comfort, and sometimes they like sharing it, even as a joke." Lyra's green eyes glimmered with something he could not name, curiosity perhaps, or appreciation. She adjusted the jacket again, letting it rest neatly across her shoulders. "Then I will wear it, not as a joke, but as a token from a human who makes me laugh." Ethan's face flushed. "You don't have to do that." "I choose to," she said simply. "It is rare for someone outside my empire to earn my trust. You have done something unusual today, human. I will remember it." For a moment, the station seemed to fade away. Ethan felt a thrill he had never known. He had met royalty in passing before, but never had he felt this. Connected, not as a servant or visitor, but as someone who had genuinely touched a life. "Thank you," he said, finding his voice, "for, letting me help." Lyra inclined her head, a graceful motion that somehow seemed to bow yet remain proud. "And I thank you, Ethan, your humor, your gesture. It is unusual yet delightful." Then, without another word, she turned gracefully and moved through the crowd, her robes swaying like water, the oversized jacket still draped across her shoulders. Ethan watched her go, feeling a mixture of awe and disbelief. She had accepted his gift, or perhaps his joke, in a way he could never have predicted. For the rest of the day, Ethan delivered the cargo, but his mind kept wandering back to Lyra. The way her laughter had sounded, the way she had worn his jacket without hesitation, the way her eyes had glimmered with genuine amusement. It all felt impossible, and yet it had happened. By evening, as Ethan returned to his small quarters in the station, he noticed a faint shimmer outside his window. A small shuttle, sleek and silver, glided past. He didn't know if it was hers, but something about it made him smile. Somehow he had made a connection that crossed galaxies, species and royal protocols, and somewhere, out there in the busy corridors of Orcs Station, an alien princess wore a human jacket every day, not for warmth, not for fashion, but because a human had made her laugh. Ethan sank into his chair, exhausted but happy. He could not have imagined a day like this, not in his wildest dreams. A simple joke, a jacket, a laugh, and suddenly, the universe felt a little smaller, a little brighter, and a little more heartwarming. Little did he know this small act of humor and kindness was only the beginning. Lyra would find herself seeking his presence again, learning the strange human ways he embodied, and showing that even a single human could touch the heart of an alien princess in ways no one else could. The galaxy was vast, and humans were few, but sometimes that was enough. The next morning, Ethan arrived at the station's central hub, carrying another set of cargo for delivery. He barely expected to see Lyra again so soon. But there she was, standing near the docking bay, her silver skin catching the sunlight filtering through the station's glass panels. And yes, the jacket was there too, draped over her shoulders exactly as he had left it. Ethan stopped in his tracks. The jacket had become something more than a joke. Somehow, it had taken on a new meaning. Seeing Lyra wear it, he felt a mix of pride and nervousness. He wanted to wave, but instead he walked closer cautiously. "Good morning, Princess Lyra," he said, trying to sound casual. "That jacket, you wear it well." Lyra turned her glowing green eyes toward him, and a small smile spread across her face. "Good morning, Ethan. I did not expect to see you again today." "Funny," he said, scratching the back of his neck. "I didn't expect to see you either. Wearing my jacket like it's the latest fashion trend." She tilted her head, studying him for a moment. "Perhaps this is a new trend. Humans are strange. They give clothes as jokes, and sometimes they become symbols." Ethan laughed. "Yeah, humans are strange that way. But I'm glad it works for you." Lyra's eyes twinkled. "It does. I feel lighter when I wear it. Not just physically, emotionally, perhaps. It reminds me that even in a place full of protocol and seriousness, small gestures matter. Ethan blinked. He hadn't expected that. Most humans wouldn't have spoken like that. Most humans wouldn't have noticed such small details. But here was an alien princess acknowledging the simplest human kindness as something meaningful. You know, he said, stepping closer. If you want, I can show you some other human things. Things we do that make life easier or fun. Her eyes widened slightly. Fun? She asked, almost with disbelief. You wish to teach me fun? Ethan grinned. Well, yes. Humans are full of it. Mostly small, silly things, but they matter. You'd be surprised. For a moment, she hesitated. Then she nodded. Very well, Ethan. Show me these things humans enjoy. Their first lesson was simple. Ethan led her to a quiet corner of the station where humans often gathered to eat and drink. He handed her a cup of hot chocolate. Something simple, warm, and sweet. Lyra tilted the cup curiously, bringing it to her lips. Her eyes widened slightly as the warmth and flavor spread through her. This is pleasurable, she said. Humans consume this daily? Not daily, but often enough, Ethan said with a small laugh. It's a comfort thing. You drink it, and for a moment, life feels a little lighter. Lyra sipped again, savoring the sensation. Ethan watched her closely, fascinated. She moved with grace, but there was a new kind of curiosity in her gestures, a willingness to experience something entirely foreign. Afterward, Ethan showed her small human games. They tossed tiny metallic discs, trying to hit targets marked on the wall. Lyra's first attempts were clumsy. Her long fingers made precise throwing difficult, but she laughed each time she missed. Her laughter was bright and contagious, and Ethan found himself laughing as well. You humans really are strange, she said between throws. But fun. I understand why it matters. Ethan nodded. Exactly. It's the small things that make life worth living. Even in dangerous or serious situations, humans find a way to enjoy life. Lyra adjusted the jacket again, the sleeves hanging past her hands. This jacket, it is not part of your culture, yet it makes me feel comfortable, like I belong for a moment. Perhaps this is why I enjoy these small games. Ethan smiled. Then the jacket is officially useful in more ways than one. As the day passed, Lyra began seeking out Ethan more often. She asked about Earth, about humans, about things as ordinary as breakfast foods, and the way humans celebrated birthdays. Ethan answered with patience, sharing stories of his home, planet, his family, and the little traditions that made life joyful. Lyra listened intently, sometimes asking questions, sometimes just smiling quietly. Their conversations drew attention. Station staff whispered, aliens turned their heads, and traders paused to observe the human and the princess who wore a human jacket. Some were skeptical, others were curious. Lyra, however, seemed oblivious to the attention. She was content simply to be near Ethan, to learn, and to laugh. By the evening, Ethan found himself walking with her near the observation deck, overlooking the swirling gas clouds of the neutral planet below. The station lights reflected off her silver skin, and the jacket glimmered softly. You know, Ethan, Lyra said quietly, I have never met a human like you before. Most of my encounters with your species are formal, distant, or transactional. You are different. Ethan shrugged, feeling a little embarrassed. I'm just me. I like to make people laugh, help where I can, and I guess I'm curious. Humans are like that, curious about others, especially if they're interesting. Lyra nodded slowly. Curiosity, yes, that is admirable, and rare in my experience. Humans possess warmth and courage in ways that are unexpected but welcome. Ethan paused. Welcome. Yes, she said, looking at him with a softness that made his heart beat faster. You are welcome here, not as a guest, not as a visitor, but as a companion. Your presence is enjoyable. Your humor is healing. Ethan's face grew warm. Healing? He asked, laughing nervously. I just didn't want you to be upset after bumping into me. Lyra smiled, her glowing eyes reflecting the station lights. Perhaps that is why humans are so effective. Small gestures, unnoticed by many, can make a lasting impression. Your jacket, your laughter, your patience, all of it matters. Ethan swallowed hard. He had not expected to be praised by a princess, much less in such a heartfelt way. And yet, every word she spoke felt genuine. I'm glad it matters, he said quietly. Lyra adjusted the jacket again, tugging it slightly around her shoulders. It does. I will wear it often, not because of the clothing itself, but because of what it represents. A simple connection between species, between worlds. It reminds me that even in vast galaxies, small bonds exist. Ethan felt a surge of happiness he could not put into words. A joke, a jacket, and a few hours of shared laughter had created a connection that transcended protocol, rank, and even the vast differences between humans and Orinthians. As they walked back toward the docking area, Lyra turned to him. Ethan, tomorrow I wish to learn something new. Perhaps another game, or a human custom I have not experienced. Will you show me? Ethan grinned, feeling a thrill of excitement. Of course. There are plenty of human things you haven't seen yet. I'll teach you all the good ones. She nodded, and for a moment, the bustling station around them faded. They were two beings from completely different worlds, yet here they were, laughing, learning, and enjoying the simple act of being together. That night, Ethan returned to his quarters, exhausted but exhilarated. He had not expected a simple act of humor, a jacket draped over shoulders to lead to this. A princess from a distant empire was seeking him out, wanting to experience human life and wearing his jacket every day. He looked out at the stars, thinking about the possibilities. The galaxy was wide, and humans were only a small part of it. Yet somehow a human could make a difference. A human could bring warmth, laughter, and trust to someone who had never known such simplicity in her royal life. And somewhere on the station, Lyra curled the jacket around herself, feeling comforted and happy. The galaxy was vast, full of rules, politics, and distance, but a simple human gesture had bridged worlds in a way that no one had expected. Little did they know, this friendship was only beginning. The jacket, once a joke, had become a symbol of trust, warmth, and connection. And as they would soon discover, humans had a remarkable ability to change hearts, even across the stars. The following morning, Ethan woke to the usual hum of Orcs Station. He had barely finished his breakfast when an urgent message appeared on his communicator. The screen flickered, displaying a royal seal he immediately recognized. Lyra's. Ethan, her voice said, calm but firm. I require your assistance. Can you meet me in the observation bay immediately? Ethan's stomach tightened. He had grown used to her humor and curiosity, but the seriousness in her tone was different. Without hesitation, he grabbed his tools and jacket, his old, worn jacket that had become a symbol between them, and hurried to the observation bay. When he arrived, Lyra was already there, standing near the panoramic window that overlooked the swirling clouds of the neutral planet below. The jacket rested across her shoulders, the sleeves long and comfortable, just as before. But this time the sparkle in her eyes was mixed with worry. Ethan, she said, turning to him, I have received news from my empire. A political plot threatens my family and the stability of my people. Certain factions are attempting to manipulate the succession, and my safety is at risk. I must leave the station discreetly to avoid detection. Ethan's heart raced. Leave the station? Now? How dangerous is it? Lyra's expression was calm but serious. Dangerous enough that I cannot rely solely on my guards or attendants. I need someone I can trust. You are that someone, Ethan. Will you help me? Ethan hesitated only a moment. Though he was a human engineer, untrained in royal protection, he felt an instinctive pull to assist her. Of course, Lyra, whatever you need, I'll help. She nodded, a faint smile breaking through her worry. Then we must act quickly. There is a small ship docked in the northern bay. It is unarmed, but its systems are advanced enough for stealth travel. I need you to modify its stealth matrix so that it can bypass the faction's detection arrays. Ethan swallowed, suddenly aware of the gravity of the situation. Stealth travel. I can do that. I'll need your ship schematics and a few tools. Lyra handed him a small data pad with the ship's specifications. Time is limited.
Can you complete it in an hour?
Ethan glanced at the complex schematics and then back at her. I'll do my best. That's all I can promise. She nodded, adjusting the jacket around her shoulders. Your best is enough. Humans often accomplish remarkable things when pressed. I trust you will succeed. Ethan smiled faintly, feeling both nervous and honored. He was just a human, but Lyra's trust gave him courage. Let's get to work then. The next hour was a whirlwind. Ethan moved swiftly, his fingers flying over the ship's control panels and wiring. He integrated new stealth modules, rerouted energy flows, and adjusted the sensors to create minimal signatures. Lyra watched quietly, occasionally offering suggestions based on her own experience with Orinthian technology. Your humans are clever, she said at one point, observing his work. I underestimated the speed of your problem-solving. Most would take twice as long. Ethan laughed, wiping sweat from his brow. We humans are good at adapting. When the situation matters, we focus, and sometimes we surprise ourselves. Lyra nodded. I am beginning to see that. And I am grateful for your presence. Without you, this task would be far more dangerous. Finally, the modifications were complete. Ethan stepped back, exhausted but satisfied. There, it should evade detection. But you'll need to pilot carefully. One wrong move and they could spot you. Lyra's eyes glimmered with gratitude. Thank you, Ethan. I will remember this, always. She handed him a small communicator. Stay in contact. If anything goes wrong, we can adjust remotely. Ethan nodded. Got it. Just come back safely, okay? Lyra smiled, her eyes softening. That is my intention, and I will take your jacket with me. Ethan blinked. The jacket? Yes, she said, draping it around her shoulders once again. It is a reminder of Earth, of humor, and of trust, and it will keep me calm during this journey. Ethan felt a surge of warmth. A simple jacket, once a joke, had become a talisman for an alien princess. He nodded silently, not trusting his voice. Within minutes, Lyra was aboard the ship, her silver skin glinting under the docking lights, the jacket hanging comfortably around her. Ethan watched as the engines hummed, the vessel slowly lifting off the platform. Good luck, Lyra, he called out, and watch out for anything suspicious. Lyra's hand waved briefly. I will return, Ethan. Trust in human ingenuity, and in me. The ship disappeared into the vastness of space. Ethan exhaled, feeling both pride and fear. He had helped a princess, altered a ship, and played a part in something far greater than himself. Humans, he realized, could impact worlds even without vast armies or political power. Hours passed, and Ethan remained glued to the observation panels, tracking Lyra's ship as it maneuvered through the station's outer defense perimeter. The stealth systems worked perfectly, allowing the vessel to slip past sensors undetected. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. She was safe for now. As evening fell, Ethan finally sat back in his quarters, exhausted. He reflected on the day. He had started with a joke, a jacket, and an accidental meeting, and now he had taken part in royal matters, political intrigue, and a stealth operation. Yet, despite the danger, he felt a strange calm. Humans had a way of acting when it mattered, and sometimes that action could change the outcome for entire worlds. Meanwhile, far away, Lyra piloted her ship cautiously, the jacket wrapped tightly around her shoulders. Every time she glanced at it, she felt a small connection to Earth and to Ethan, the human who had made her laugh and trust again. His humor, his kindness, and his willingness to help had given her a strange comfort in the face of danger. Hours later, she arrived at a remote location outside the Empire's capital, where she could safely contact her loyal allies and neutralize the political threat. Using the knowledge Ethan had provided, she maneuvered around patrols and traps, reaching her destination undetected. The stealth modifications had worked perfectly, thanks to a human engineer's skill and creativity. After completing her mission, she took a moment to breathe, looking out at the stars. The jacket felt lighter than it should have, lighter in weight but heavy in meaning. It symbolized trust, courage, and friendship. She touched the fabric gently. Humans were small in number across the galaxy, but their hearts were vast. When she returned to Orynth Station a day later, she was greeted quietly by Ethan, who had monitored the station for any sign of trouble. He ran toward her as soon as he saw the ship land. "You made it," he said, relief flooding his voice. Lyra smiled, the jacket still draped across her shoulders, now slightly worn from travel. "I did, thanks to you, Ethan, your skills, your cleverness. Humans are remarkable," Ethan chuckled, shaking his head. "I just did what I could. You did all the hard work." Lyra tilted her head. "Perhaps. But your assistance made the difference. You trusted me and I trusted you. That combination is powerful." They walked together through the station, the jacket a visible reminder of their bond. Staff and aliens alike whispered, amazed at the unusual friendship. Yet Lyra seemed unconcerned. She was happy simply to be with someone who understood her humor, her fears, and her curiosity about the universe. Ethan finally realized something profound. Humans had the power to change lives, even those of alien royalty, not through armies or politics, but through trust, kindness, and ingenuity. A simple jacket had become a symbol of that connection, a small human gesture that could inspire courage across worlds. As the sun set over the station, Ethan and Lyra stood on the observation deck, looking out at the endless stars. The jacket flapped lightly in the breeze, a symbol of friendship, humor, and trust, and in that moment, both human and alien understood that even small actions could make a big difference in the galaxy. The station buzzed with its usual activity, but for Ethan, time seemed slower that morning. Lyra's mission had been a success, but he could not stop worrying until he saw her safe and unharmed. Every time someone passed in the corridors, he glanced toward the docking bay, scanning for the familiar silver glow that would signal her return. Finally, the announcement came. A small ship had arrived at the northern docking bay, matching the description of Lyra's stealth vessel. Ethan hurried down, nearly tripping over his own feet, his heart racing. He could see her through the viewport, standing tall and graceful, the jacket draped across her shoulders exactly as before, slightly worn from travel but still recognizable. Ethan felt a mix of relief and happiness wash over him. He had worried for her, yes, but now that she was back, all he could feel was joy. Lyra descended from the ship with quiet elegance. Her silver skin gleamed under the station lights, and the jacket hung loosely but comfortably across her shoulders. She looked around, spotting Ethan almost immediately. A small smile appeared on her lips, one that warmed his chest more than he could describe. "You made it," he said, stepping forward quickly. "I was worried." Lyra's eyes glimmered softly. "And yet here I am. Thanks to your help, Ethan. Without your skills and trust, my journey would have been far more dangerous." Ethan shook his head, feeling shy under her gaze. "I just did what I could. You were the one doing all the difficult work." She stepped closer, brushing the jacket lightly over her shoulders. "Perhaps, but your presence mattered more than you know. Even in my empire, humans are rare. And yet I have learned that a human can be brave, clever, and trustworthy all at once." Ethan's ears burned. Compliments from a princess were already overwhelming, but her sincerity made it even more powerful. He wanted to say something, but all that came out was a quiet, "I'm glad you're safe." Lyra's eyes softened. "And I am glad for that as well. You have given me comfort. A strange human jacket has become a talisman for me. A reminder that kindness exists in unexpected places." Ethan laughed softly. "I never thought a jacket would be so important to a princess." She tilted her head, her glowing green eyes sparkling. "It is important not for the cloth itself, but for what it represents: humor, trust, friendship." For a moment they walked together in silence, side by side. The bustle of the station seemed distant, almost unimportant. All that mattered was the shared understanding between a human and an alien princess. A simple joke had grown into a symbol of connection, trust, and courage. Over the next few days, Lyra's presence on the station became more noticeable. She continued to wear Ethan's jacket daily, now comfortably adjusted to her alien form. The sleeves were long, but she had folded them neatly, blending human and Orinthian styles. To the station staff and visiting diplomats, it was unusual, but it was a statement. Lyra did not care about appearances. She wore the jacket because it reminded her of trust, friendship, and a human who had changed her day with humor and kindness. Ethan noticed how people stared as they walked through the corridors. Some whispered, others nodded in surprise. And yet Lyra remained unbothered. She was more focused on him than on the gossip around them. One afternoon, as they walked near the observation deck, Lyra paused and turned to him. "Ethan," she said softly, "I have been thinking. The galaxy is vast and humans are small in number. Yet, you have shown me that even small beings can make a great difference." Ethan smiled, a little embarrassed. I just try to do what's right, I guess. And sometimes I joke around." Lyra laughed lightly. "Your jokes are more valuable than you realize." A smile, a laugh. It can lighten even the heaviest heart. "You have done this for me, human, and I will not forget it." Ethan glanced at the jacket draped over her shoulders. "I never imagined it would become such a big deal," he admitted. She shook her head, adjusting the collar. "It is a big deal, not because of fashion or royalty, but because it symbolizes something rare, a connection between two very different worlds. You have reminded me that small gestures can carry great weight." They walked together for hours, talking about Earth, Lyra's empire, and the customs of humans that fascinated her. Ethan showed her small tricks he had learned on his home planet. How to make simple tools more efficient, small games humans played to pass time, and stories from his childhood. Lyra listened eagerly, laughing and asking questions. For the first time in months, Lyra felt completely relaxed in public. She was not a princess with duties and expectations. She was a curious being, learning and laughing and wearing a human's jacket that had become her comfort. The jacket even drew attention from other aliens on the station. Some were skeptical, some amused, but many were curious. Lyra welcomed their stares with confidence. The jacket was hers now, not just a human garment, but a symbol of friendship and trust. One evening, as the sun set behind the planet below, Ethan and Lyra sat near the observation deck, looking out at the swirling clouds and stars. The jacket rested comfortably on her shoulders, glowing faintly in the fading light. "Ethan," she said quietly, "I wish to thank you properly. Your help, your kindness, it has meant more than you can imagine. You have reminded me that even in a world of rules, orders, and expectations, small acts of care are powerful." Ethan shrugged, feeling shy. "I didn't do much, I just helped when I could." "No," Lyra said firmly. "You did more than help. You brought comfort, courage, and laughter, and sometimes that is more valuable than any weapon or command." Ethan felt his heart warm. He had never considered that a simple joke or jacket could have such an impact, and yet, seeing Lyra wear it every day, seeing her laugh and trust him, he realized humans had the power to inspire in ways far beyond their size or strength. They sat together in silence for a while, enjoying the simple peace of the observation deck. The stars twinkled in the distance, the station hummed quietly, and the galaxy stretched endlessly before them. And between them, the jacket lay across Lyra's shoulders, a symbol of a friendship that bridged species, planets, and expectations. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Ethan and Lyra grew stronger. She began seeking his company not just for lessons but for conversation, laughter, and the comfort of shared moments. The jacket remained a constant presence, a reminder of how a small gesture could spark something meaningful. Station staff began to notice a change as well. Aliens and humans who observed Lyra's interactions with Ethan could sense the trust and respect between them. Whispers of admiration spread quietly. Humans could indeed inspire loyalty, trust and warmth even in the hearts of royalty. One morning, Lyra approached Ethan with a small gift in her hands, a glowing crystal from her home world. "This is for you," she said, her voice soft. "It resonates when we are near each other, a symbol of our bond." Ethan took it carefully, amazed. I don't know what to say," Lyra smiled. "Say nothing. Just remember that even across galaxies, trust and friendship can exist. And small actions like a joke, a jacket, or a smile can carry immense power." Ethan smiled, feeling a deep sense of pride and happiness. The jacket had become more than a piece of clothing. It was a bridge between worlds, a token of friendship, and a reminder that humans could make a difference in ways that mattered. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Ethan and Lyra stood side by side watching the stars. The jacket flapped gently in the breeze, a symbol of warmth, humor, and trust. And in that moment, both human and alien understood something profound, that even in a vast galaxy, small gestures could change lives, hearts, and worlds.